Hey there everybody, this is Kyle from the TF Review, here with a video review of Transformers Prime, Voyager Class, RiD, Bulkhead. Now thanks for watching, and I hope you guys really enjoy this review. So here we have Bulkhead in his SUV alt mode, and he's got sort of a decent looking alt mode. It's definitely nowhere near as good as the first edition, and this figure all around is definitely nowhere near as good as the first edition. But it does have some triumphs on its own, and I'm going to use this as an opportunity to point this out, that this is definitely not a bad figure just because it's nowhere near as good as the first edition. Let's just take a look at some of the details. I really like the silver roof rack. Again, there's silver details in the front, silver on the side, nothing really on the back except a red tail light. The green is a really nice sort of forest green. It's very easy on the eyes. It's certainly not nasty. The windshield does have some robotic Cybertronian looking details, and the side windows unfortunately are not clear. They are painted, which is unfortunate. It would have been really nice to have all of this sort of clear plastic going all the way around, but again, that's not a very big detail. We're going to take a look underneath. We can see how compressed of a figure this really is. I mean, there's no wasted space used at all, much like the first edition figure, which I don't own. I wish I did, but I don't. Now, he does come with two weapons. The first is sort of this impaler, which you can peg onto the top right here, if you'd please, like I had it in the intro. That's really the only place you can peg a weapon in. You can see right down here he's got two more ports, but you know, you can't exactly peg them in. The car can barely roll on its own. Again, that's one major downside. I wish there were more ports for you to plug stuff into. And he does come with this, which is more like the weapon he uses in the show. And it does have a gimmick. Let me see if I can do this. It does spin around. And there's a little red light in there that lights up. So overall, this is my favorite sort of mech tech looking, I don't know what these are called, mech tech light up weapons. This one is by far my favorite. I really like this one. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the alt mode. Let's take a look at the transformation. Now, the transformation on RiD Bulkhead's definitely nowhere near as intense as the first edition, but it's still fairly intuitive. And I'll show that to you guys. To transform him, what you first want to do is take his back panels, which are connected to his wheels, and then you just have to flip them up. Now, these two things, these parts, they do pop off from time to time, so just keep an eye on them. And then there we can see here are his arms, and here are his legs. First, we want to focus on his legs. His arms can really be done last. We just want to lift the hood, and the legs will fold down, and then we take each leg, and we spin it around. Afterwards, what we want to do is we want to take these pieces, and then it folds down, and the foot just kind of locks into place like so. It's like an unintentional automorph feature, like that. And his legs are now done. Now we want to focus on his upper body, so we take his legs and we fold them outwards, like that. And then we can take this piece, and it should snap and be fairly stable. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the doors, and we're just going to pop them out and fold them up to the front of him. And they should stay in place. They are held on there kind of tightly, so it's nice. And then now what we want to do is we want to free up his arms. And we just split them apart, basically. And I want to show you this peg right here. It's taken a lot of damage, and so is the port. I don't know if you're able to see that, but there are stress marks, and their port is starting to stretch. So when you are handling his arms in transformation, just keep an eye on that, because it could snap off at any time, and then you'd be screwed. But it's not an issue for now. And then what we want to do is we want to take these back windows right here. I don't know if you can see that. Fold it out, and then flip it upside down. Again, do the same to the other side. It looks like a jumbled mess right now, but it'll all come together in just a second. Flip it around, and there we go. Now, we're going to work his arms. Just need to straighten them out. Get that out of the way. And you fold it forward. Do the same on this side. Straighten it out. Oops. There we go. Fold it forward. And there, Bulkhead now has his arms, and then these we can sort of split apart, and they become almost like football shoulder pads. and we take care of that. I hope you saw that. Yeah, I'm going to assume you did. And then you just want to take this last piece right here, fold it down, and then it does snap into place like so. And lastly, to unpeg his head, you want to take this piece, flip it up. His head will flop right out. And then you want to take this piece again and fold it back in. And also you'll notice that this piece popped off. Like I mentioned, they do pop off from time to time. And now we have Bulkhead. His transformation is complete. And now here we have Bulkhead in his robot mode. And as we can see, it's nowhere near as detailed or anywhere near as good as the first edition mold. But this is still a really good Bulkhead character. He's got a lot of nice articulation. Again, a lot of details. Really like the head sculpt. And just to show you, he does fit the proportions of the character quite nicely. And I really like that he has these shoulder pads. That's not something I remember from the character model. I do think that's a really nice touch. Again, you can see the silver details are sort of just splurted out all over the place. And even though this version isn't as good as the first edition version, it's still definitely nice. One thing I don't like is the arms don't really snap into anything. They're just kind of loose back here, but luckily they don't get too far out of whack. You can get some pretty emotional poses, but knowing me, I just like the security of having something snap in place. With this, you don't really have it. You kind of have to use the shoulder pads to hold them in place, which isn't that bad, but it's still something that I personally like. He's got a lot of articulation. His arms should rotate 360 degrees, but they do have these two things that hinder it a little bit, but you can just kind of push them out of the side. They're double jointed. Wrists move in and out. He's got upper arm swivel and lower arm swivel. I don't know exactly what those parts are called anymore. His legs do bend, but only slightly. And his head is on a ball joint, and you can kind of move it up and down. And his mouth does open and close, kind of. If you want, you can get it to be like that, which is horrifying, in my opinion. Now, with his weapons, you can plug them into multiple parts. Like his arm, just take it, plug it in. There you go. Now he's got a pulverizer. And then if you want to, you can take this and plug it into this arm. So now he just looks like he's just going to start ripping people to shreds. Obviously, he's very front heavy with this weapon. But no, if you don't put it in the right direction, all you need to do is just twist it, and then it'll lock into place, which is something that I really like. And his arms, if need be, they can hold the weapon up, or at least they could earlier today. I guess there we go. They can hold the weapon up. It's not like it's ridiculously hard to hold up. So there's my Voyager class Bulkhead review. It is a nice figure. Again, it doesn't hold a candle to the first edition mold in terms of likeness, in terms of, just complexity, in terms of a lot of good detail. But it's good in its own right, in that it's got a really good amount of articulation. What you would expect from a Bulkhead toy. It's got a lot of nice paint apps. And yeah, if you missed out on the first edition mold, I think this figure is a nice replacement until they decide to finally release the first edition mold. I personally enjoy it, so that's pretty much it for this review. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at the TF Review. I hope you didn't hear my phone just go off. And thanks for watching, everybody. Later.